Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to PSGL. We are here this evening for round number... I forgot what round it is. We're here, although, in the Chinese Grand Prix here at the Shanghai International Circuit, and what should be an entertaining evening of Grand Prix racing here in the PSF3 Championship. My name is Evan, as you can see on screen, and joining alongside me for this evening's action once again, it is Brendan. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and just to let you know, it is round 7 we're at, so we've well past the halfway point here, really. Azerbaijan last week was effectively the middle point of the season, so now we're on to the second half, and this is where it all gets very, very interesting. As we're getting to that stage where things get decided, and at China, usually in Formula One terms, we haven't been there in a few years, so who knows what we might be expecting here.
Yeah, we don't know what we're going to expect this evening, ladies and gentlemen, but we can take a look at what has happened before this evening's race. Here is the championship standings on your screen. As you can see, Tyne takes the lead of the championship due to Mubarak being promoted to PSGL F1. He leads by 8 points over the man who is in third position, Dara, who took his first win in Azerbaijan. That's on the back, of course, of 3 podiums. Keke is in fourth position after what wasn't the best week for him in Azerbaijan. He only picked up 6 points on that occasion. And then it was a no start in Enryu for Azerbaijan. There'll be a no start for Enryu here in China. Once again, he's not around, so unfortunately that's Enryu's championship hopes slipping very, very quickly. LRB is in 6th position, followed by Damiano, who is in 7th. It's then Shazoo Zane in 8th position, followed by Baki in 9th, and then it is 83S or 8S in 10th position, who had a very good race in Azerbaijan, picking up a podium, and of course that second place was taken away from him in the very late stages. Here is the Grand Prix circuit that we are facing this evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is of course the 5.451 kilometer, 3.387 mile Shanghai International Circuit, which is just off the outskirts of the main centre of Shanghai. 16 corners, 7 to the left and 9 to the right, with a lap record that still belongs to the one and only Michael Schumacher, who still has that track record since 2004. There's a 267 metre run from pole to the apex of turn number 1 being a tricky right-hander, a sweeping right, and then into another sweeping right of turn 2, and then a quick flick to the left is the turn 1, 2 and 3 complex, but 1,397 metres longest flat out section. That's the run from turn 13 to turn 14, which of course you can see on your screen there, just at DRS zone 1, just the 1 DRS, or the 2 DRS zones here in China. But we should be getting ready to go fairly soon. Just seems to be a little bit of a hold up in the lobby. We are waiting to get going. But Brendan, can we expect one of the more simpler races, or will this be a pretty messy one?
Well, that'll probably depend on how the drivers feel like tonight. China, I suppose, maybe it's not the circuit drivers will be asked more than the most, so you might get a little bit of irregularities coming around here because the fact that people probably aren't doing it that much, maybe in a comparison to like Spa or Silverstone. So I would be hoping that we would get some action tonight, though, because China, in game at least, has gone a 1.2 kilometer straight and also has corners there where you can definitely go for moves.
Yeah, it is an interesting track, which the circuit layout itself is actually based on the Chinese Shang character, which means to ascend, and that also, of course, gives Shanghai its name. So that's an interesting fun fact for you. The circuit, of course, here also hosted the 1000 World Championship Grand Prix, which was staged here in 2019. It was a terrible race, so we hope that doesn't happen again. The year before, though, in 2018, Brendan will have fond memories of it being a Daniel Ricciardo fan, was an absolute belter. We're just getting ready to go here. Couldn't tell you what the hold-up is. We'll try and find out for you, but there just seems to be a little bit of a delay, which means you have to look at our beautiful faces for just a little while longer. But Overall, it should be a good evening of racing. The championship standings are still really close, but Tyne's consistency is just unbelievable, and Dara is going to find that very hard to beat.
Yeah, consistency is a hard thing to beat here, especially in PSGL, because the point system rewards consistency, as opposed to maybe the normal F1 system where a win is given that extra weighting. So it's probably some drivers. See, last week, Darren Smith, he came in, he saw, he conquered Baku, and that was job done. But it doesn't always work like that. Like you can't usually get that kind of like race, qualifying and race every week, but it just simply can't happen.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go now, folks. There was just a little bit of delay waiting for someone, but we are getting ready to go with 18 drivers here this evening, so a very solid number. But Dara will be hoping to take another win here in China. It's not one of his good tracks. I commentated on him in another league last week. He didn't make it far into the race. It's not one of his better tracks, and a lack of a good result here this evening may see his championship chances fall by the wayside a little bit, and that's exactly what he doesn't want to happen. He wants a very strong result, and ideally to outscore Tyne, because 8 points is a lot harder to catch in PSGL circumstances than it is necessarily in a Formula 1 circumstance, because of course, as Brendan said, wins weigh a lot more in Formula 1 than they do here in PSGL. But we're loading into the race now, or we're loading into qualifying now, I should say, and we'll be heading there very shortly. As a matter of fact, we're going to be heading there right, if I can find it, right about now, ladies and gentlemen. We head into qualifying, 17 minutes and 42 seconds left on the clock, so we are right at the start. This should be a very interesting qualifying session.
It should be very interesting indeed. China, along, I'm thinking obviously the strategy of medium hard. Now, for these tires are going to take a bit of a they're going to be doing a lot of work during this lap because a lot of long, especially the 1, 2, 3 complex, where it's just turn, and it feels like it's never really going to end.
Yeah, it's a very tricky section of corners. Overtakes are possible in it. It is certainly a complex of corners where you can take a risk, you can dive it down the inside. Usually doesn't work out if you're on the outside heading in towards the third part of it, which is that left-hander. But if you're in the second bit and you do go for a dive up the inside, sometimes it works out, sometimes it does not. But nevertheless, hopefully we get to see some very fast times on the board before qualifying start, or before I should say we get into the race start, as it's going to be Marcus, the first man to set a lap. And how crucial is it to save battery around this track, because this long straight promotes a lot of overtake?
It's important to make sure you just have enough to wait on that track, so if you do feel like you're going to run out of DRS here on the lap, you might just turn it off, maybe in the middle of sector 2, where it's not that important. However, even still, as your starting lap you'll need is on straight, then you're probably going to want to underrun down to turn 6, although that'd be more important in a race setting, because, well, being a kind of fun, we know moves can be done there.
Here comes Marcus then, heading in towards the first corner. This is 1 and 2 that we were talking about. Takes sort of a wider line, but still hits the apex for turn number 2. Very dull out here on track, as Sipala has actually left the session. Hopefully we can get him back in. It's quite dull out here in China though. Maybe some weather on the way, we'll have to wait and see. Not sure what the race conditions are, of course, but we'll find out sooner rather than later. Purple sector 1 for Marcus. That is of course because he is the first man out on circuit, and he's heading through the S's section now in towards turn number 8 and 9. Turn number 10 follows in the double lefts. Yellow flags in the final sector. That's just because people backing up, but this is not a bad run from Marcus so far in his Alpine.
Yeah, not looking too bad for Marcus. Seems to be up stable. And it's the kind of run you just want in the first run just to be on camp. And you see you're not going to throttle down fully until you get around 6th gear. It's very important to keep the traction there. And you see Hannah's got all the ERS. And then once you more ERS friendly tracks than let's say, I don't know, Monaco. And a little bit twitchy there, but it's 122.6 and that's our banker.
That's the banker. I think it will definitely be beaten, but that is the banker. He's not going to be the next man. It's going to be Fede actually across the line next, and yeah, if he absolutely smashes that run, Shazoo Simon going into second. It's going to be the Aston Martin, I should say, of Izza across the line, but we're taking a look at his teammate Ghost Kings as Izza does go to second position. Haas across the line next of Sancho is. That's way off the pole time. Here comes Ghost King across the line just behind his teammate in towards third position. It's the Scuderia Ferrari next, and the man trying to challenge for this championship. Dara heads around the final corner of turn number 16 and across the line, and he does take pole position. He's obviously done a bit of work and he's put his practice in. Hefior Jacob goes to fourth position for Mercedes now. It's a Red Bull who'll be rounding the final corner next, I believe. It is Tyne. Backy goes to sixth position, his teammate. What can Tyne do to reply? Oh, only 8th position. Not even close to his title rival Dara. Keke goes to 6th position, decent lap from the Finn, and Damiano goes to 10th now. It'll be the McLaren of LRB, who's been oh so consistent. Had his first DNF in his PSGL career last week in Azerbaijan, and it was through absolute no fault of his own. Zayn heading through the final corner now, left-hander, very tricky. You don't invalidate on that right-hand side as there goes Zayn across the line. Only 14th, and anyone who's not set a lap is currently in the pit lane, so that's the first run's over for the time being.
Yep, so 15 times on the board here, and how many times people not in the times were Sapala, Nisbrand, and Tom. Well, I'm assuming that'll change on this session. Unless I'm speaking without talking about any quality events I don't know. I will just read down here. Actually, we didn't have anything last week, so it's also on the end as well. Let's say though, looks like Dara has found maybe a bit of pace at China since the last time we saw him.
Yeah, he is on top, 131.956. He is looking very good here in the banker times, but we're going to see people improving. Fede on the front row. Sepala is having a lot of issues. He's rejoining and leaving the lobby fairly often, so hopefully all is okay for the Williamsman, who's currently not having maybe the championship everyone would have thought he was having. Of course, it's 23rd and has not scored a singular point in this season's PSGL F3 Championship for a man who has had PSGL F2 performances on his resume. That's not really what you'd like to expect, is it? Zayn coming into the pit lane, meaning on our timing screens it says that everyone is in the pits apart from now people coming out. But there is a stranded car in turn number 6. I think that could be Sepala, but I'm really not sure what is going on there with him. As hopefully everything is okay. It is Sepala's car, and I really don't know what's happening to it. You can see the McLaren of Shazoo Simon. Oh, there it is. It's just stuck on the apex by the looks of things. We saw this in Australia last season in PSGL F2. And yeah, that Williams is just in the middle of the racing line. You'll see it here on board with Sat. Yeah, and that's quite distracting actually. Hopefully that doesn't cause too much issues for these drivers.
Yeah, I think that's not really supposed to happen now, is it?
No, I definitely don't think so. Hopefully he can get back in and remove that car.
Yeah. More realism.
Yeah, we love a bit of realism here in the Formula 1 games, don't we? Absolute outstanding. But heading in towards the final corners is the next set of laps, and Shazoo Simon is going to get us underway as he heads through turn number 15 and towards turn number 16. Brendan, why don't you run us through a lap?
Hang on. So it's the US brand here. Let's start.
Oh, as here comes someone out of the pit lane. Simon doesn't get impeded, and the McLaren heading through turn number 1, 2 and 3, using third gear to rotate his McLaren through here, fourth gear short, shifting and heading down towards turn number 5 now, which is just a little kink in the road. That's this right-hander, and this is turn number 6 now he's braking for. It is a big improvement in the first sector. Doesn't want to be thrown off by that Williams in the middle of the corner, but however they do know that he is going to ghost on every lap, so I suppose it's an ease of the mind potentially for these guys. Simon heading in towards the middle sector now, and very tricky double lefts coming up using 5th gear in them. He cuts the grass a little bit on the inside. It's not necessarily what you want to do, but it's a line that seems to be working for this man.
Yeah, it's looking quite nice for him at the moment. I suppose some lines you can just find when you're trying to run the tracks where that racing line is open to a little bit of interpretation, whereas obviously like the street tracks, you're very much going to be confined to the one line to make sure you get through everyone fine. And Simon, see how coming up, he made a Benton. Just see almost a 330, just hit slightly there for the braking zone. So keeping in third. And you see keeping up towards the last corner now. You can afford to cut this a little, but just don't really go drifting out wide because you will lose time, and that's 132.3, so improvement up to 7th.
Yeah, it's an improvement. Jusbrand gets a lap in. That goes to 9th position. Tom is on his opening run as well. Marcus, as well as there was a Williams starting his lap. Here comes Sanchez to the final corner. Sanchez will go to 14th position. Here comes Hav braking for the final corner. Oh, big improvements on board this AlphaTauri through that first sector as Hav heading through turn number 14 in towards the final corner of 16. The little kink in the road being turn 15, if you're wondering what happened to that. But here comes Hav across the line. That's good enough to break into the top 10 and go for 6th position. So a decent lap there. Ghost King's improving on his run as well. He's the lead Aston Martin too, very in close proximity. A lot of cars here as Ghost King's improves to 3rd. There goes a Red Bull across the line to maybe start a lap. There's an Alpine in the background. That's Marcus who goes to 9th. Here goes Izza onto the front row. Decent lap there by the second Aston Martin, who goes well onto the front row. And oh, big improvement from someone there. That's FBR Tom, who goes to 6th position. He's knocked down. He was in 5th. He's knocked down as FBR Jacob goes to 5th position. Here comes our poleman though. He is on a hot... No, he's not. He's into the pit lane. So he's backed off this one. Darren, not the greatest in qualifying. Maybe having some issues here in the middle sector, or the middle part of qualifying. As Damiano across the line doesn't improve. Simon into the pit lane as well. LRB goes to 5th position, so a decent run there by our steady McLaren driver. Jusbrand into the pit lane as well. He of course set a lap at kind of the start of this phase in qualifying. NL Keke going to 3rd position, so a decent improvement there. Sanchez was on a run. He's backed well off that one, and he will not continue. We haven't seen a lap from Fede here. What can Fede do? We're slightly down in the first sector, but we'll keep an eye in the middle until he can, Outplayed Racing's driver, find some time.
Yeah, it's the thing now with China. It's one of them tracks you definitely can find that bit of time, because the track really ramps up as you go on through qualifying sessions. It's a bit like maybe France in a way where you're always going to find time because it's a track based on more rhythm than necessarily iron where it's just stripped like Mahomes out of the block.
3 cars of traffic.
Oh, Backy is up.
Oh, Backy! Backy's gone to pole. We were not taking any notice of the second Red Bull, who's been outperformed all season by time. But he goes on pole. Fede doesn't finish his lap. He dives into the pit lane. Is Tyne on a run? We'll have to wait and see. Nope. He's invalidated. So lots of struggles for the man who leads the championship here. The Red Bull, probably 15th here in qualifying with 5 minutes to go. Here comes Damiano up to 7th position, so a much better run this time from the Mercedes. Backy though on pole position here in China so far. He's followed by Dara, Izza, Keke and Fede. That's your top 5 with 5 minutes to go here in PSGL F3. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for sticking around. And we do appreciate every single one of you who are supporting us here in PSGL F3. But lots of drama maybe in the early parts of the session for time. he's going to want to get a better lap in than that one.
Yeah, time. He's in a bit of bother here. You need to get the lap in because otherwise you want to be 16th. While, well, your teammate's on pole for a start. And then the guy who's behind you in championship, about 8 points, is going to be then in second. And by that, so you'd be losing the championship lead immediately. Even then, Keke is also up there. And you don't really want to be giving your rivals anything, especially when you've had such good consistency, being second in all but one race this season.
Yeah, but is the consistency that has time in this position. He doesn't want to let that fall now, maybe, as here comes Simon to start what might well be his final run of the session. He's gone out way earlier than everyone else in the McLaren, just going to get on his way and try and set a decent lap, heading in towards turn 3 and in towards turn number 4. A little bit of a wobble through there, not the best run from Simon through the opening corners, but let's see what this sector split is. He's narrowly down. That Williams still parked in the middle of the circuit, but it's not really causing anyone any issues. Now, 3 minutes to go. We'll see lots coming out on their outlaps very soon. Simon, though, not managing to find much time in that first sector. Will this second sector be better? We were on board with him through this part the last time. Does he change his approach? He does change his approach, and he's gone for the wider line through the double left-hander. Maybe found that more beneficial. It is more beneficial because he's found 0.3 of a second almost. This will bump him right up in qualifying because the top 10 only separated by 0.3 of a second. Simon currently 14th, 0.442 off pole. If he could have a similar final sector to how he had a middle sector, the McLaren may well find himself up at the top of the running order, braking for the penultimate corner, or what is technically the penultimate corner, in towards turn number 16. Now past the DRS detection zone, Simon needs to push through this final corner because this will be his final attempt in qualifying, and that puts him into the top 5. He's pulled that out of the bag. A real good run from Simon, but everybody else still has to go. Will we see him tumbling down the order? We'll find out in a matter of moments.
Yep, on will be revealed very shortly. And well, that Williams is still there. It's probably just going to have to be accepted at this point. I see Simon, done. He says he had run out early. And I believe if you know have a monkey or have Mick, because Lord knows how I'm meant to pronounce that. He is
I've just been saying have all season. It's probably safest to go for have, as have. Heading through the first couple of corners now. There's a yellow flag in the final sector. That is just for traffic. But here comes Have. Heading through the first sector. The real big dogs are getting ready to start their lap. Jospran starting it now, as well as LRB. Simon obviously finished his lap in one McLaren. Can LRB repeat what the Frenchman has done on his one? Here comes Have heading through the middle sector. How's it going to work out for him? In towards turn number 9 and 10. It's not been too bad so far. That's Jospran's session done because he's crashed out. Heading through turn number 3. We'll try and catch what happened to him if we can get on board with someone quick enough. We haven't got on board with Damiano quick enough. What about Zane? Or has it been cleaned up? Where is this Alpha Romeo? Oh, he's completely binned that. That's a real rare mistake, as Zane does the exact same thing. Maybe it's not that rare. Zane does the exact same thing. How is Have getting on his run? He's not improving in this middle sector. Zane's session done. Hopefully the other Ferrari doesn't suffer the same fate for their sake.
I thought for a second I saw Tapala move. But it turns out it was the other way.
Have's into the pit lane. He's not going to finish this one. Zane just completely parked on the circuit. How is LOB improving on his run? We haven't quite caught his sector split. What about our two battling for pole? Is there someone gone off? That is Keke, who's gone off. Heading through turn number 10. The Williams will not take pole position here for the Chinese Grand Prix. Dara Is he finding time in this middle sector? He is. There's an improvement. Baki also finding time in the first sector. This is a real tussle for pole position. Here's LRB for the final corner. Who's spun around there, Brendan?
Isa.
Oh, Izza's gone, so the Aston Martin will not be improving from third. LRB beats his teammate and he finds sixth position as Ghost Kings pulls one out of the bag. The Aston Martin is going to get involved in this one. He goes on to pole provisionally. What can Dara do? There's only one car in front of him. That is Fede, who we'll take a look on board with, because Fede's currently on a pole lap. He's currently on a pole position run. Here comes the Alpha Tauri. Surely this goes to the top. It does. What can Dara do to the final corner? Is he going to go on pole? He does. It's swapping left, right and centre. What about Baki? Tyne improves to second. The second position Merchant finds his home once again. But can Baki, the fast-flying Red Bull, somehow beat him? Oh, he's had a huge wobble to the final corner. It's invalidated. Baki won't take pole here in China, but Jacob will on debut here in the tier. One Fiorman beats another, and in the dying embers of qualifying, the Mercedes pulls out a magical lap, unless Zane has something to say about it. He's down by 40 seconds, of course, with his spin. Fior Jacob, literally the final timed runner, is on pole for the Chinese Grand Prix, a 5/10 of a second improvement. What a monstrous run to knock his esports teammate off pole position.
Am I not mistaken? I think that might have been probably the best qualifying. Probably the best qualifying we've seen this season.
Yeah, all I'm saying is Ghost Kings was on pole within the final minute. He starts 6th.
My point about track evolution, I think, I don't even think I was expecting this kind of a track evolution.
Yeah, that's unbelievable track evolution, but Jacob starts on pole position ahead of Dara in second. Tyne starts third, so the two championship rivals will be almost side by side in towards the first couple of corners. Fede starts 4th, followed by Tom in 5th, Ghost Kings in 6th, Baki in 7th, Izza in 8th, Keke 9th, LRB starts 10th, followed by Marcus in 11th, Simon in 12th with Damiano in 13th, Zane starts 14th, with Hav in 15th, and then it is Justbrand, Sanchez and Sepala not getting a run. He was of course parked in the middle sector for the entirety of that qualifying. This is going to be a cracker into the first corner, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a short commercial break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shanghai International Circuit. What a circuit this is that has provided an unbelievable qualifying. Mark Webber's grid position of 18th in 2011 is the furthest anyone has come from to finish on the podium. We have 18 runners here this evening in PSGL F3, but we're going into action straight away, Brendan, as quick as you can. Who's winning this one?
Well, you really just don't know at this point, but you'd probably put it on an FER person, because there are two of them.
Well, here we go. To the grid then. We're getting straight into racing action. 2, 3, 4, 5. Red lights. And we go racing here in China. Very decent run from the Red Bull. A Tyne off the second row. He's got an excellent launch. Heading in towards turn number 1. They're 4 wide in the background. Ghost King's getting a great launch. Dara leads in towards turn number 1 though. The Ferrari's got the better launch than the Mercedes. Fede diving it up the inside in towards turn 2 as well. The Alpha Tauri's got a good launch. Jacob almost being held at the corner. Yellow flag in the background. That is a McLaren that's gone round. Believe it is Shazoo Simon who's gone round in the background. Here comes Fede. They're still looking for a gap. That was closed very swiftly by Tyne. Look at him diving back up the inside. Jacob runs wide. Fede, if he plays his cards right, could be second in a matter of moments. Huge tank slapper from the Red Bull on the exit of turn number 6. Very decent run there from Fede to get that position. He's up to third. He's looking for second. The outplayed Racingman wants to dethrone his eSport team rivals FVR, but they are currently still 1 and 2 here. Sepala, his car may have been parked, and no, just as I say that, he spun round. There is contact between himself and LRB, and they go falling down the order. I was just going to say Sepala's up 8 spots. What a launch as he's got, but it's all come crumbling down, unfortunately, for the Williams, who seems to be having nothing but bad luck this season here in PSGL F3. Whether it was his own mistake or maybe an LRB mistake that caused that, we don't know, but we won't ever know, probably. It's unfortunate for them both still to be down the back, but the safety car may be possible, as it won't matter for Sepala because he's gone off the circuit. Look at the two Aston Martins. Oh, bit of contact between Ghost Kings. Izza's gone way off the circuit. We've seen teammates collide into that corner before. It was two Toro Rossos in the form of Pierre Gasly and Brendan Hartley back in 2018. Izza and Ghost Kings coming very close to contact. Izza having to go way off the circuit. Your biggest gainer on the opening lap, though, that goes to Sanchoiz, who's got a real good launch. What tyres is Sanchoiz on? He's on the mediums compared to everybody else. Everyone's gone for the hards except Sanchoiz, who is on the mediums. Dara, though, leads by 1.2 seconds here in the Chinese Grand Prix.
Well, I think his qualifying, he did get me a bit biased on eSport teammate, but looks like for now, the race pace isn't well in his favour. So if you can get this second win in a row, this could really be the spark that just adds, well, the flame that adds onto the spark of last week's victory. However, for extra time, you want to be thinking, when can I make these moves to get back up to second?
Tyne said, of course, in the post-race interview last week, I'm going to have to win a race if I want to win the championship. It's not looking like that he can win this race so far yet today, but we're only on the second lap. Anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does, as the old adage goes. Tyne needs to try and make a move on what seems a rejuvenated Fede. Very quick so far this evening, and he might be on for a good result, one of his better results this season. Of course, Fede currently sitting 16th in the championship. He's only scored points on one occasion. Podium would be a first podium of the season for the man who currently sits in third position. Rounding through the final corner, though, FER Tom running strong in sixth as Tara sets another fastest lap. Will not be beaten by anyone down the order, not for now, as race control gives us the message DRS is enabled. There is someone who beats that fastest lap, and it's Shizu Simon, who's in 15th.
Yeah, so Shizu Simon down 15. Albeit now, well, at least he's probably thinking, look, there's two people behind me now. I mean, that worrying. So now this order, it all looks like it can get very chaotic at any moment here, but for now it seems like, well, actually, from second all the way to 15th, everyone's within a second of the next car.
Yeah, really close quarters. LIMCXRAG in the stream chat saying Fede loves pineapple on pizza. That's what makes him fast. That's Liam Carrick, Fede's esports team boss. Fede does not love pineapple on pizza. Just for anyone who would like clarification, that is because he is Italian. And heading through turn number 13, he may be Italian. He's running quite well. His car hasn't blown up yet. He might be looking for an overtake on the Italian manufacturers, Ferrari's rivals, Mercedes. Not quite close enough, heading in towards turn 14.
Yep, both of them went in a little deep there. Neither of them really hit the apex. However, that might be just a part of their line. And sometimes it's just better not to hit the absolute, not perfect apex. But you see now just closer and closer, and just, you might see you can try sneak up the inside there in the next lap if you could set your car up in such a way that allows you to get yourself to that inside. We'll do that in turn 6 here, as remains to be seen. Keeps on coming around, and it's just not really there, so it probably would have to be a move down into the hairpin or into the long first couple of turns.
Fede could do with getting past Jacob for his own sake and for those behind, because it doesn't look like Jacob is able to keep up with Tara. He's 1.5 seconds behind. and Fede, Tyne and Ghost Kings running very close to the back of the Mercedes, despite having the dirty air in the middle sector. So it seems like they can run close no matter what, which would mean that they do have a pace advantage. But that's a mistake from Jacob. That is a mistake from Jacob. And here comes Fede heading through the final corner, looking to pull alongside the Mercedes, He tucks into the slipstream, heading down towards the hairpin of 14. He's got past the Mercedes. And Tyne follows suit. The Red Bull looking to follow the Red Bull sister team car. Jacob, though, going to try to defend this around the outside. Tyne has the better line through 14. He's going to take that one. His own mistake from Fede in front. He runs wide. Very rare mistake in this Grand Prix for Fede. He's been running strong, but that is an error. Hasn't lost him too much time, though. He's up to second. Tyne up to third. Jacob, unfortunately, falls off the podium on the fourth lap.
Yeah, so not the best lap for Jacob, but if he can just maybe gather himself here and find a little bit of rhythm, it might not turn out to be that bad. On the ERS situation as well, he might be in a little trouble because Ghost King has got more than enough to burn to pass.
Here comes Izza, heading in towards turn 6. Thought he was closer to Tom, thought he might have had a dive. Izza and Ghost Kings, of course, almost coming to contact. They're in very close quarters of one another, heading through turn number 14 on the opening lap of proceedings here this evening in the Chinese Grand Prix. And if you're enjoying the action, make sure you do pop a subscription on the stream channel. Make sure to like the video, and if you'd like, please leave a comment. We love reading out your comments and always encourage you to let us know your thoughts on the Grand Prix so far. But the fifth lap, still a lot to be decided because Fede is closing in on our race leader. Tyne might actually have a go here. Obviously feels his pace is stronger than Fede's. Is he gaining on the AlphaTauri? Probably not by enough. It would have to be a very late lunge, sort of 2018 Verstappen-esque in towards this corner. He's not gone for it, but there is a lunge in the background from Izza, who was close to the back of Tom, and he's dived up the inside now, heading through turn number 14. Izza's got the job done, and he's up and behind his teammate once again, or is he? Runs a bit wide, and now this invites Tom to have another opportunity, heading it towards turn number 1 and 2, still side by side the Alpine and the Aston Martin. Izza on the inside, Tom going for the outside here. It's a long sweeping right-hander, so the outside line can become available to you. But no, Izza's boxed them off nicely, and Izza will stay in 6th position and does eventually get the move done just at a later stage than he originally thought.
Yeah, so just sometimes these things take their time, but he's got the work done. And next thing for Izza, we'll be looking at his teammate, who was technically on pole there during the last dying embers, but then he ended up being running into 60s, up to 5th now. Not bad. But his teammate might think, maybe I prefer to be the Lady Aston Martin here.
Yeah, Izza running at a solid pace. Zayn looking to attack Damiano. Zayn, of course, starting near the back of the grid. He's up to 11th here in this Grand Prix so far. We only have one retirement. That was Sapala, who went off here through turn number 13. Izza's made a mistake, and that allows Tom to sweep right past. That allows Sanchez to sweep past. That was a bad mistake from Izza, who falls down to 8th position. The man on the mediums is up to 7th as the Backy almost looking for a move in the background as well. That would have been horrible for Izza if he had a lost 2 in the 1, and he's made another mistake. Backy all over the back of the Aston Martin now, heading through turn number 16. Is the Red Bull able to make a move work in towards turn of 1? No, I think Izza's just going to be okay here. I think that Aston Martin's, he's just regathered himself and he's recovered, and he's just going to have to work from 8th now.
Yeah, it looked very nice for him, but now that mistake's left him back even worse than when he was before, so I'm not really too happy with himself.
He will not. Tyne all over the back of Fede now, looking to take another position as Keke sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Keke and LRB, both with early pit stops, of course. They've both gone for the mediums and maybe hoping for a safety car in the late stages in this race.
Yeah, we just hoping for maybe a little bit of luck there. And because obviously with the mediums, if you get that safety car like now for like Sancho is perfect. Your strategy is now going to work. Although maybe another couple of laps will do it. A lap 10 safety car realistically is Sancho is being put into a situation where he can win this race.
The thing here is hold on 1 second. Here comes Tyne looking to overtake Fede. Fede's burned most of his battery and Tyne is going to sweep back into the position he also loves here in the PSGL F3 Championship. He's gone up to second and the Red Bullman has got the job done eventually on Fede. Well then, it is a championship shootout here at the Shanghai International Circuit because it's the man who is technically second in the championship versus the man who's in front, but they are in reverse order. In terms of strategy, we will see cars pitting as early as lap 13 here.
Yep, it can definitely happen because to be
Brendan, you've left the session. Is everything okay on your end?
What? No, I haven't.
It's just come up on my screen that you have.
Well, now I have. It's just...
Hold on. Just give us a brief moment, folks. I'm just going to send Brendan another invite as we head into the middle sector. Welcome back, folks. Apologies for that little intermission. We're just having some trouble getting Brendan back in because I cannot invite him due to the wonders of crossplay, which for some reason I have turned on. I don't really know why. But here comes Ghost Kings attacking Jacob. This is for 4th position. Jacob has lost a few positions. And now Ghost Kings does get past the Mercedes. Heading in towards turn number 14, Ghost Kings has got the job done and he is up to 4th here in this Grand Prix on lap number 8, heading on to lap number 9. There's some movement in the background as well as Hav. Oh no, contact between the two and round goes Hav. Into the wall goes Hav. It just looks like he got past Marcus. There was a bit of a contact between the two and Hav has just been spun round. He's now down to 15th, doesn't pull into the pit lane, so obviously doesn't have any damage. But that is Hav down to 15th. Brendan, any joy getting back in?
I'm restarting because that's usually the remedy for this kind of situation.
Hopefully that all works as Tom looking to attack Jacob in towards turn number 6. Jacob is just falling like a heavy stone in water here, unfortunately. He is not having the greatest of race pace, but that might just be due to a setup related issue potentially for Jacob, or maybe just qualifying was his strong suit. Ty needs to drive faster, says Liam in the chat. We've 2 Liams in the chat, so thanks to Liam and Liam for commenting on the stream. As for we say Ty needs to drive faster, but for the first time in this session, that gap between Dara and Tyne has dropped below 1 second. As Brendan's just left the voice call, so hopefully he doesn't have too many internet issues because you'll be stuck with me, unfortunately. That's not a good thing for anyone in any scenario. Here comes Baki overtaking Sancho, is heading in towards turn number 14. The Red Bull just clears the man on the mediums who's potentially starting to suffer a little bit here in this race. He's gone for the unconventional strategy in league racing these days. He's now been overtaken and Sancho is down to 8th. Brother, everything okay?
I hope so. It's just going a bit peculiar here. But we are trying. So as long as it loads me back in, hopefully I'll be able to be back in for good.
Hopefully, as the gap now between 1st and 2nd has come down to 6/10 of a second, meaning there's been a mistake from Dara somewhere, because that gap was not coming down as quick as it did through the 1st sector. So time slowly catching, as Dara is maybe starting to wilt a little bit here in the late stages of stint 1. We're not even halfway through the race yet, so the Red Bull still has plenty of laps if he wants to try and launch and overtake. Heading through turn number 9 and 10, Tyne just about keeping with Dara. 7/10 of a second is the gap between the Ferrari and the Red Bull, and for the first time in this Grand Prix, Dara will have somebody in his DRS. when you're not back in here, so that was silly from me. As here comes Tom, looking to attack Jacob. Here comes the Alpine, looking to pressure the man who started this race from pole position. He's fallen to 6th now because Tom makes that move look fairly easy. And he's up and past and into 5th position, so decent racing between the pair, and the Alpine has got the job done. The gap now 0.2 of a second between Tyne and Dara. Where has Tyne been holding this pace all race? He's extremely close to the back of the Ferrari. Dara starting to feel the pressure potentially, and the top 2 in the championship about to go battling, about to go wheel to wheel for the first time really in this season almost. We haven't really seen Tyne battling Dara. We've seen Dara Mubarak, Tyne Mubarak, but we've not really seen these two go wheel to wheel. Mubarak obviously being promoted to PSGL F1, otherwise this championship would probably be wrapped up by now. Tyne just looking to pressure Dara into a mistake, but Dara holding okay in the first sector. Let's see how he finds the middle sector and these sweeping S's. In through 9 and 10. Now comes the Red Bull of Tyne. He's getting right close to Dara. Dara might be a sitting duck on the main straight. I'm not sure how much he'll be able to defend this one, as it certainly won't be last of the late breakers if it stays like this. Here he comes though through the long sweeping right-hander, a real tricky corner that we've seen mistakes on so far this evening. No mistakes from either of those, but here comes Tyne, tucked into the slipstream. The Red Bull man is going to lead here in China, looking for his first race win of the season. Dara is just going to have to concede because he does not have the straight line speed to keep with the Red Bull. Tyne even better from a battery perspective, and he's up and into the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. And Sancho is, and this has been tapped round. The Haasman's just hit the back of his in the braking zone, and he's tapped round the Aston Martin, and unfortunately it's more like dodgems than Formula 1 racing for Ism out here. He has fallen to 11th position, real unfortunate there. The gap for the race lead now though, 0.3 of a second. Brendan, everything okay?
No, I got back in, but it's now knocked me out again. I don't know how I'm going to fix this.
Hopefully all okay. There's a yellow flag in the first sector. That's Justbrand who's gone round, heading through turn number 3. Don't think he's hit a wall or anything, as he does still have a full front wings, so he has just had a spin and he falls to 13th. Shazoo Simon, a man who had an early spin, looking to pressure as Sanchez loses a spot to Damiano. Zane looking to capitalise on this as well. Zane looking to go the long way around the outside of the man who's on the old mediums. Zane, can he keep the car in? No, Sanchez just comes across to defend. Good racing between those two, but Sanchez does run a little bit wide and his line is compromised because of that. Zane heading through turn number 9 and 10. Is he able to pile the pressure? No, he's just going to wait for the main straight here by the looks of things. But the only thing is, Sanchez will also have DRS and slipstream of the Mercedes of Damiano in front. Tyne is really kicking up a storm here in this Chinese Grand Prix up the front. He's almost got that gap to a second over Dara. Here comes Zane though in the other Ferrari. He's going to blast past the man in front, and that is 9th position for him. Up near the top of the order though, Ghost Kings falling out of DRS and Fede. The Italian has just ran a steady race in 3rd, and he stays in 3rd for the time being. Ghost Kings falling a little bit far behind. Sanchez gets past Zane side by side for the final corner. The Haas and the Ferrari. Zane runs wide. That's just so they don't make contact. Looks like Marcus as well trying to get involved in this one. Look at Marcus tucking into the slipstream. Marcus is actually going to get past the both of them if this keeps carrying on. He doesn't get past the both. Does he even get past one? Sancho is trying the long way around the outside. He'll have the inside for turn 3, but no. The Alpine will get in front and into the points paying positions here in the Chinese Grand Prix for the first time. I imagine we'll see Sanchez into the pit lane on this lap, because those mediums are looking a little bit shredded at this point in proceedings.
Look, we're going to try once more. I have sent an invite to my spare camps, so if I can join in through that and other issues, it might be the solution to our problems.
Well, that's good. Once we can get you in any way possible. There's Brendan back with us now. If you're enjoying the action once again, folks, I'd like to remind you, make sure to pop a like on the stream and subscribe, as Liam and Liam having a lovely chat in the stream chat. Liam saying Dara is going to box that 15, trust me. Okay, so lap 15 is a pit prediction for Dara. He's fallen out of DRS of the race leader, which is very disappointing. Tom looking to pile the pressure on Ghost Kings, who seems to be struggling. Here comes Marcus past Zane. Marcus got past Sanchez on the last lap. He's got past Zane on this lap. Or actually, apologies, on the same lap, because he got Sanchez into turn 1, didn't he? Backy into the pit lane, and so is Sanchez. So that's 1 point for Evan on his pit prediction. Sanchez does pit on this lap.
You see, somebody's pits up now, and there's somebody question of how quick you can get these tyres warm, because if you don't, you're going to risk getting overcut. Whereas, like, if you can get them warmed up, you can really make the cut come into play.
Well, the gap of the front 1.1, meaning somebody is probably going to try an undercut or an overcut. Not sure who that will be. Maybe it'll be Fede even in the third. Tom piling the pressure on Ghost King still, as Jacob is kept in the DRS, so he has kind of found his form a little bit now. Damiano's ran this race very well indeed, and he is now starting to catch his teammate who started on pole in this one, of course. You can't forget, Jacob did start this race from the front of the field. He lost the lead before the first corner though. Did not lead a single lap of this one, and he's just been falling down the order ever since. Gap now a tenth of a second between Fede and Dara, and Fede is up and past here and towards turn 14. What happened to Dara's pace? Because he was looking so good and comfortable, and now it just looks like he is falling down this order as top two in. Tyne is into the pit lane, runs wide, so does Fede. He is into the pit lane for a set of the mediums, so Dara trying the overcut here. Brendan, I'm sorry you've left again. Is everything okay?
It's just not really going to work here, is it?
No,
Again,
it's not having a good evening. Here comes Tom, attacking Ghost Kings. This is the closest he's been. This time it's going to come out in 7th in the provisional race lead. Although I don't think this strategy is going to work well for Dara, because he was slower when they were on the same tyres. When they're on fresh and he's on old, he's not going to be able to maybe pull the overcut. There's no DRS as well to help him. Fastest lap of the race does go to Izza, who was in 15th. Izza, of course, having multiple pieces of contact with other drivers and multiple spins here or there, so it's been a very unlucky race for Izza so far. At 15 out of 28 though, and Dara heading through the final few corners. Oh, Simon's out. Simon has crashed from 6th position. This could bring a safety car. What a gamble this would be for Dara if the safety car came out now. There's tyres all over the circuit. The McLaren has fallen to pieces. Where even is Simon crashed? Oh, there he is. In the left-hand side wall. There's tyres everywhere. Big collision for Simon, and unfortunately for Dara, the safety car has not come out, so... Oh, hold on, he's ran very deep into that pit lane. Almost thought he was going to hit the wall at one point. No safety car has come out. Tyne heading through turn 14 now. Surely the Red Bullman is nice and comfortably in this race lead. Dara, though, out of his pit box now, onto a set of the medium compound of tyres. Here's Tyne through the final corner. What can the Red Bull do? He sets a purple sector free. Where is Dara on pit exit? There's Dara on pit exit. There's Tyne in towards turn number 1. There's Fede through as well. And Dara's going to come out in provisionally 3rd position here. And he's way behind the man who's provisionally 2nd. Maybe Tyne's first race win is going to come here in China, as Have sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. Backy attacking Ghost Kings, heading through turn number 4. This is a real good launch from Backy, who's on fresher tyres. He's looking for the inside, Daniel Ricciardo-esque. Ghost Kings does not give him that option, and Ghost Kings is going to run him the long way around the outside. Still doesn't have the tyres fully up to temperature, and Backy going to try dive down the inside of the Aston Martin, heading for the sweeping left-handers. This is real great racing between these two. The Red Bullman forces it alongside him and gets the job done, as there's a mistake from Ghost Kings, who's now under pressure from Tom. Backy is up to 5th position here in this race, which will be 4th when Marcus comes into the pits. Ghost Kings may fall even further and fall behind Tom here if he's not careful.
I'm just to say, Just a little bit of hope that this time might be the time I get back in.
Hopefully we can get Brendan back in, as Dara has fallen 2.4 seconds behind Fede in third position. This has gone not the way Darren would have liked, and he's currently being outscored by time, and I can't really see any way that he won't be outscored by time unless time makes a mistake under his own accord.
Thanks, man.
Now time taking the fastest lap of the race as well. It's all going in Red Bull's way. As I say that, the fastest lap has been beaten by Damiano. Marcus now into the pit lane, meaning all drivers have taken a mandatory pit stop here. Brand now takes the fastest lap. Fastest lap's being shared left, right and centre here in this field. Tom looking to attack Ghost King. Ghost King's looking to attack Backy. This battle rages on here for fourth position. It's not quite for a podium position, but fourth is still really good points here in this championship, especially for some of these guys.
Yeah, fourth is, if you can keep finishing in position like usually, your consistency will eventually add up and get you into the championship positions you're looking for. However, now, sometimes your ambition can overtake you, and you might go for that move you're not sure of. As I'm back in now, and so far so good. Doesn't seem like any odd issues.
Jacob looking to attack Tom as well here, so Tom not the only man piling on the pressure. Mercedes running in 7th and 8th. In terms of the constructors stand, oh no, I can't get the constructor standings up now, unfortunately, sorry for that folks, but it's still a fairly close battle, as there is battling up here. This is Ghost Kings diving back down the inside of Backy, heading into 14. Backy looking for the up and under, the old switcheroo, it's not worked out. And Ghost Kings takes the spot here for 4th position. Backy in 5th is just going to have to settle for 5th for now. After he took that 4th, he wasn't able to defend it. Ghost Kings got back past, but is Backy able to attack maybe once again in towards the first couple of corners and maybe even turn 6. Dara is catching Fede. He's much more comfortable on the mediums than he was on those hards. 1.7, now the gap it was 2.4.
Yeah, it looks like finally my issues are gone, so it's nice to actually be able to see cars racing on this. See, that's the grid spread out quite a bit because well now it's time Fede Dara, so Dara's went from a really nice situation where he'd be really closing in that championship to now seeing time maybe getting that win that he's desperately needed.
With time as well, you feel if he gets one win, he may well get another, because he's come so close on different occasions but not quite took it. If he gets one under his belt, he might just go on a bit of a run and take a few more. As here comes Ghost Kings in towards 14, looking to defend from Backy. Backy not able to chuck it up the inside. Tom, Jacob and Damiano as well, trying to get some spots in this little midfield battle. Further down the field, Brand is looking to attack Sanchez. As, oh, what's happened to Ghost Kings? Ghost Kings has made a mistake somewhere, because Backy's got the position just as we swap off. There is a swap of position. Backy now up to 4th. Ghost Kings attacking in towards the first corner. He pulls alongside the Red Bullman, and Ghost Kings retaking 4th as quick as he lost it here in the Chinese Grand Prix. He's gone from 5th to 4th once again in towards the first couple of corners, and now he leads ahead of Backy. Can Tom maybe capitalise and go for a position here? Not right now. Not sure. Oh, there's Brendan.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I'm here. Well, I haven't been kicked out yet.
No, not yet anyways, as I'd say this midfield battle really close. If one of these puts a foot wrong, there could well be a bit of a pile up. Darren now 1.2 behind Fede. He's hunting down to take second and minimise 3 points lost. But time clear at the front, 2.1 ahead of Fede. He is driving phenomenally in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, Fede's having a real nice race here. Although Dara is going to be not going to be showing in much mercy here, as he wants to get past. However, And the first you'll need to get into that DRS zone because that's what gets you pulled along near the car. And after that, then it's up to you basically how you decide to pass and whether you can actually
Here
make
goes
it stick.
Marcus up the inside of Zane. The Alpine's got the job done on the Ferrari. He's got that one done fairly easily as well. Zane didn't put up much of a fight. Marcus takes the spot in towards turn 14. He's now up to 9th, so it's an extra point for his troubles here in PSGL F3. There was a move further back as well. Just Brandt overtook Izza. That's for 11th, not quite a points position, but if there's a mistake from one of these guys in front, it could well be. Keke and LRB still trundling around at the back, and Keke now takes the spot after doing a monstrous stint on the mediums. He goes for a fresh set, and he's now off from picking up the wooden spoon. Almost ran wide and lost the spot once again, but just managed to hold it, and now will stay in front of LRB on the fresher tyres. Dara is within the second, or was when I said that, and now is again.
Yeah, seems like on the edge there. Just needs to push it on. Then look, the detection point will be coming up soon. Might just need to be a little extra here, and I think he's gonna have missed it.
I think he has. I don't think he's got in. I think it was about 1.03-ish. We'll take a look here as the wing open is here. Has he got it open? No, he's missed it. So no DRS for Dara heading through there. He'll just have to wait another lap, or maybe even just another couple of corners, as there is another zone heading through turn number 1, but the detection point is up here. He's not going to get this one either, so Dara just a little bit outside. Has to try find a few more tenths throughout the course of the lap if he wants to take DRS on that long back straight, heading him towards the first corner. 1.2 now, so Fede's still holding his own. Can he hold on for long enough though? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it's must be a stretch here for Fede maybe. Although Dara, it seems like he's losing out on the straights, so that may play into Fede's hands. So you see 1.2 here, now 1.1 gaining. This is the corners here. Dara needs to be making these work. You see, back to 1.2. It's just, you're almost there, but it's just he's not getting into that area.
It's close but no cigar. And he just needs to try and gain a bit of time. He's not going to get on this lap either, because he's not got the best to run through there, and he's not gaining time. So there'll be no DRS on this lap either for Dara. Whereas the battle for 5th, they all have DRS, and Baki is getting it off Ghost Kings, who's 4 seconds behind the Ferrari-man. It's then Tom, Jacob, Damiano, and then Marcus 3.9 behind. So still lots to play for here in the battle for 4th. They'll all be giving it full gusto to the end. We've had green flag running throughout the entirety of this race. There's been no safety cars so far. No real incidents as a whole, as it looks like Fede is just finding his feet once again on these mediums, and he's starting to pull away.
Yeah, it's just Fede's starting to maybe get it comfortable here. Maybe Dara has the raw pace, but just not the higher saving that he'd want for this kind of track.
Yeah, it's very peculiar how he was so strong at the start compared to everyone else. And Tyne has just upped and gone to another level. He's gone into second gear and has got his second wind, and now he is really pulling away here in this Chinese Grand Prix. He's not pulling away too much in terms of the timing screens, but he is pulling away, I suppose, mentally maybe. He's not in a battle. He is going to extend this championship lead over everybody else in the tier. And he leads by 1.9 seconds, 2 seconds. It's fluctuating here in China.
Yep, China looking at very, very close earlier on. However, the field spread has come round now. Although, to be fair, from 4th to 8th, we still have these guys very much together. So, you try and see what happens here. It's effective. It's the effective best of the rest battle here.
It's not really the most entertaining of races here in the second stint, but it has the potential to be if this all kicks off in the battle of the midfield. Looks like Backy, is he attacking? No, just pulled out of the slipstream for some reason. Maybe just the spot is breaking or something, but he did pull out of the slipstream. Thought he might have chucked one up the inside, but he was a bit too far back. Dara still hasn't got DRS, and he's still 1.2 behind.
So you see
There is a battle though for 13th. Yeah, Sanchez gets past half. They're still side by side and in towards the final corner. The AlphaTauri trying to work around the outside. He's not got the job done. Can he have another go maybe into turn 1? No ERS on board for either of these. You can see in the steering wheel at half. He's at 0. Sanchez at less than 10%. Here comes half trying to fish around the outside. Oh no, there's a mid-corner adjustment for Sanchez and it sends half in towards the grass. He's recovered it nicely and won't lose too much time. This is the battle for 13th at the end of the day, so I don't think he'll be too annoyed at it. But still, that could have been much worse between the two. Sanchez just had a snap mid-corner, had to correct it. And Hav was very quick to avoid it off the circuit. Dara almost within a second if he can just push through these corners, and no, he's not going to get it again, unfortunately. He's heading through, there's the white line, it's 1.1, so Dara is not going to be able to get it. They're both at a very low level of ERS. As you can see in the steering wheel of Fede, he's on 3. What about the steering wheel of Dara? He's on 0, I think. There's no ERS on board at Ferrari, which may come to cost him here. ERS managing is crucial in this race, as we spoke about in the pre-race build-up. And he's not going to get to ERS again. Dara just needs to try and find that extra 10 through the corner. But these top 3 are all running at an unbelievably consistent pace because the gaps are barely even fluctuating now.
Yeah, at some point it's just everyone finds their rhythm, and then considering how close this tier often is, it's just the times are just close up. Everything is closed up.
Backy just not able to apply the pressure on Ghost Kings. Ghost Kings has ran very well since retaking 4th position here in this Chinese Grand Prix. He's been fairly solid at the top. Tom in 6th, not able to pressure. And I have to say Jacob has had a much better second stint than he did first. He's not lost many positions. He's only lost the 1, I think, since exiting the pit lane, and that is, of course, to the man in front of him, FVR Tom, his FVR teammate. But Jacob will still be happy with that pole position. As he heads through turn number 9 and 10, Dara has got the DRS on this occasion. He's just pushed through that middle sector and now he has got the DRS. Some dark clouds forming to the northwest of the circuit, or the northwest of this straight, and may potentially cause a bit of trouble. Probably not in the dying embers of the races, as Dara is not able to attack heading in towards 14.
Yeah, I see it in close, but just not close enough for Dara. I'm thinking, not much time to do it, not much ERS to do it. And it looks like time is going to really put a stamp on this championship now this season. And I believe that would be about a 6-point swing, and that would nearly make it pretty much a full race between Time and Dara. Oh no, that's Fede gone off. That's Dara.
Oh, Fede's gone off the circuit, and it is a bottle for the Italian. Dara has taken second position. Fede's made a mistake heading through turn number 4. And Fede now falls to 3rd. Dara didn't even have to take it on the track. Fede just opened the gateway for him, and Dara is back up to 2nd here in the Chinese Grand Prix. Very disappointing for Fede, who's ran a flawless race up to that point, and he may struggle to get the DRS here, which is real unlucky for the outplayed racing.
Yeah, so they're not going to make a mistake. That's Dara through, and they'll probably think, okay, 2nd. Considering I could have been 3rd, it's probably not the worst at this point.
No, and he's not going to lose too many positions, as Izza has crashed out of the race. This will be a spanner in the works if...
It is?
Oh, it's a virtual safety car. If this gets upgraded, we may have a very exciting race to the finish. Is this going to get upgraded?
No.
I think almost everybody is begging for it to be, but no, I think we're going to stay. under a VSC rather than a full course safety car, because it would have come out by now. Because you do have to do 2 laps of racing, so we will finish this race under green flags without having a safety car, just the virtual one for the time being, and that's cleared oh so quickly because we are green flags already. DRS has been re-enabled, which is, I don't want to say disappointing, but it is quite disappointing, because if a safety car had to come out there, we would have had a real scrap to the end.
Yeah, it would have left Tyne and Dara very much going at it. But, yeah, I think we're just going to be solidified for Tyne, and Tyne to be thankful as we are going again.
We are going again.
Let's get a restart.
Brother just lagging a little bit, but we are going again, and Fede now, the gap between himself and Dara is 1.9, and there's no real chance now for Fede unless Dara makes a mistake. Fede's lost that one on his own, and that'll be something for him and the team to reflect on after this evening's race. He'll be disappointed with losing second, but he'll be chuffed with getting third in what will only be his second point scoring finish, although I don't want to jinx him too hard, because he might, if he makes another mistake, he'll fall off that podium and lose to Ghost Kings, who's ran solid in this second stint. He's ran solid since retaking 4th position off of Baki. And Baki, although being so close for the entirety of this stint and the last 13 laps or so, he's been very, very solid. Oh, Ghost Kings has been very solid is what I'm trying to say, and he's held firm. But can he hold firm for long enough? Because here comes Baki in towards the first corner, in towards 1, and now into 2, in towards turn 3, just piling on the pressure on this Aston Martin. Maybe Baki is waiting for the final lap, as they both have a similar ERS situation. They've both managed very well here in this second stint.
Yeah, they managed well. And it's not penultimate lap, so I have to say Tyne, it has been coming this way, hasn't it?
It has.
It
definitely has.
Yeah, all them second places, surely it's going to come right at some point. I suppose that it nearly was gone from him quality. He was 16th, got back up to if it would have been around 4th or 3rd actually, and now it's going to be a first time winner this season. So looking very good now for this championship, especially with only about 4 rounds to go after this.
I can't believe we are discussing the championship leader getting his first win in the 7th round of an 11-race season, but that is the joys of the PSGL point system. He's been second in all but 1 race where he picked up a single point in France, and Tyne starts his final lap here in China where he's looking to take his first win. Dara home and dry in second, you'd have to feel at this point, as he leads by 2.1. The gap almost identical between the car in front and the car behind for Dara. 2.2 and 2.2 respectively. Baki is going to have one last go in towards turn 14, you feel, on Ghost Kings. He's just been waiting for the perfect opportunity for the last 5 or 6 laps. That perfect opportunity has not arisen in those 5 or 6 laps. Maybe the last lap is that perfect opportunity, but he needs to be careful, because he has 2 cars very close behind. Damiano's pace completely dropping off. He's 1.4 behind Jacob now, but heading in towards the final sector. Currently in the middle sector. Are these guys close enough to have a lunge up the inside? We'll have to wait and see. I definitely think Baki's close enough to have a lunge up the inside if he just uses a bit of this battery, but I have to say Ghost Kings with more battery might be okay. Gap up the front, 2.5. Tyne's had a clean lap home. 1 Red Bull about to take his first win of the season. The other is trying to take 4th place in what would be his best result of the season. Yellow flag behind. That's Justbrand who's gone off. Baki is not going to be close enough, but rounding the final corners, he's been second on 5 occasions. He's been second best on 5 occasions, but today in China, Tyne is the best, extends his championship lead, and wins the Chinese Grand Prix. Dara has spun through the final corner, and the Italian stallion will come home in second. Is that dramatic? Fede is going to get second position here in China. A moment to forget for Dara, who loses even more points in a close championship and comes home in third. My goodness me, is that dramatic.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. That is, Dara.
I don't know if you caught that one, Brendan. Did he just spin it himself?
Yeah, it just looked weird. Looked just slow, and we came out, and as soon as he lost control of the car, named the same way Fede had done earlier. But you have to wonder, especially if Dara, you might look back at that at the end of the season. Think, that's 2 points there that might cost me.
And he's had a few moments like that this season as well. As somebody has just taken the fastest lap, whoever was in last. Who was it? I can't remember who it was. It was a Williams. It was Keke, I believe. He just took the fastest lap right at the end. Sanchez wins your in-game driver of the day. We're going to try here from the top 3. We heard from Tyne and Dara last week. Hopefully we can hear from them again. And maybe even Fede on what is his best result this season. But here is Tyne. He's coming out onto the podium as a first place driver for the first time this season.
Yep. It's been a lot of podium trips, but this one's probably going to feel just as... It's going to probably feel more sweet than the rest of them combined. It's finally... The wins come, and you're leaving this round having gained points over everyone. There hasn't been anyone beating you. You've now managed to beat every single driver, take the win, and extend your championship lead up to 14, I believe.
There was not supposed to be rain in that race, seemingly, because I've just read the weather report from Izza was, he said, drier than rain. There was no rain in that race, and there wasn't going to be for a long time. But Tyne is your Chinese Grand Prix winner. The P2 merchant takes his first taste of victorious champagne. Fede in second, followed by Dara in third, loses crucial points through the final corner. Ghost Kings in fourth, Baki in fifth, followed by Tom in sixth and Jacob in seventh. Damiano in eighth, followed by Marcus in ninth. Wow, we really had an Australian invasion in that midfield battle, finishing sixth, seventh and ninth. Zane then picks up the final points in 10th. Sanchez in 11th, Hav in 12th, Justbrand 13th, LOB 14th, and Keke did steal the fastest lap of 1:33.599. Your non-finishers were Izza, Simon and Sipala. Hopefully we can get some people in for a post-race interview. Dara is in the waiting room now. Let's bring him in and hear from the man who finished third in that race. Hello, Dara, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Well, a slightly dramatic ending to the race for you. A weird one maybe from a visual perspective for us. Looked like you were controlling this one comfortably. The pace just dropped. You managed to work it back to second, and unfortunately you did drop it yourself for the final corner, and what we think. Just describe how that one went, because it didn't seem to be as smooth as last week.
Well, the last corner was actually fuel. I ran out. So
Ah.
I couldn't do anything there. And like the start of the race was good. I pulled away, but then like people could just use DRS. And, like one person would be ahead, drain all his battery. The next guy would overtake using DRS, drain all his battery. And then Teen was like, he mega race pace. I couldn't do anything about that. Going into the pit lane, I almost stuck in the wall, which wasn't great. Lost a bit of time there. Had to catch back up to Fede's Piga. And then he made a mistake. I don't know if you caught it on stream or not, out of the first 2-3 corners. And then I was just bringing it home from there.
Well, you've fallen a little bit behind the championship now because Tyne wasn't the P2 merchant today, and he did win. We have a total of four rounds to go Is it just flat out to the end, see what you can do, or are you going to think about this tactically?
Yeah, it's just flat out to the end, really. I didn't do much practice for China. Didn't really want to race either, but yeah, it's just disappointing to lose P2. And like, I don't know how much points P2 gets over P3, but when I'm in a championship fight like this, it just feels very stupid.
It is only 2 points the difference between second and third, but still could be at 2 crucial points, so we understand where you're coming from. Brendan, any questions?
I suppose with your fuel, actually, you mentioned you ran out. So what did you have put in at the start? I'm asking, and we're maybe thinking a safety car would have come that actually didn't.
Well, people told me that 0.6 extra laps would be enough, but I put 0.8 in just to be safe. But apparently wasn't safe enough. And I like put a bit more just in case. Like, obviously when you've DRS you save a bit more. So I think the problem was I didn't have DRS enough that race. So if I was in DRS a bit more, I would have saved and made it.
Well, Dara, we're going to let you go and enjoy that as much as you can. We do thank him for joining us. He's already gone, and I think it's safe to say he's not happy with that result. I think it's safe that we can say that one. But ladies and gentlemen, from myself and Brendan, thank you very much for joining us this evening here for PSGL F3. We do greatly appreciate your support on the stream, and we do hope you enjoyed proceedings here this evening. Next week, we head to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico for the Mexican Grand Prix. This calendar is slightly wrong, as Bahrain is no longer there. It's been moved, but still pretty much the same. And then it is Budapest, Brazil, and Portugal. But from myself and Brendan, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega, proudly supporting PSGL.